Hello everyone, and welcome to Alternative Design's presentation of the Sinister Sequence of Returns. I'm Tim Harding, Chief Marketing Officer for Alternative Design. Thanks again for taking the time to join us today. Maybe talking about a topic today that you're familiar with, but it never hurts to have a quick refresher course. And I found a very, very good report that I think is useful as a point of sale piece or even as a pre-approach piece, which I'll be walking you through today. It may make some points that you're already aware of as financial professionals. But, like I said, a refresher now and then is usually a good thing, and getting this piece in front of prospects and clients might be a very, very good thing. As always, if you have questions during the course of the presentation, feel free to type them into the chat box on your control panel at any time. I will be more than happy to answer all of those questions at the end, as usual. And with that, we'll get started. You know, there are only so many tools in a financial professional's toolbox. There's so many ways that you can put things together. This is a tool for entertainment called a deck of cards, of course. And these are some people engaged in a very friendly game of cards. They do this every week. They get together. They have a great time. Before they come to this card game, they have expectations about what's going to happen there, and they're going to be competitive. They have strategies. They have ideas that they're going to use to try and win this card game. As friendly as it is, they're going to come in with expectations and strategies. But this is also a card game, and if you went to this card game with the same strategies and expectations as the previous example, you likely would have a very unsatisfactory result. You see, they're using the same tools, but these games have completely different rules. And I want to talk about some of the rule changes that take place as we move, baby boomers in particular, move from the accumulation phase of their financial life into the distribution or decumulation phase of their life, because even though we've got the same tools to work with, what we're going to find is that there are really, really different rules. The first rule change is this. You know, we are used to talking about average annualized rate of return. We know that returns, especially those linked to a market or in a market, are not going to be steady and progressive. They're going to be up and down. So we want to look at how our portfolio did on an average basis. The problem with that in the decumulation stage of a financial life cycle is that averages don't mean much anymore. I mean, here we have a guy drowning in a pond that has an average depth of 3 feet. You see, he just stepped in the wrong hole. The average is still the same, but the consequences are far different than what he anticipated. The report I want to take you through today and share with you, and of course we'll make it available to you after the webinar, is one written by a professor at York University in Toronto, Moshe Milevsky. I happen to know him. I've shared a podium with him. He's a very brilliant mathematician, and he spends a lot of time analyzing financial products. In fact, if you read Insurance Newsnet and a number of the trade periodicals, you very likely, Research Magazine, you very likely have read some of his articles and some of his analytics. He made his reputation analyzing variable annuity products way back when, and has focused since then on a variety of different financial products, in particular fixed indexed annuities. Very good guy, very bright, no nonsense. He gets right to the real issues. There's no fluff. There's no sizzle. This is what it is, and this is how it's going to perform. So, if you're not familiar with Professor Milevsky, I suggest that you do a little Google search and find some of his other articles. He's a very, very helpful individual to understanding how our industry works and how the products, in particular, in our industry work. And if you have the chance to hear him speak at a conference sometime, I highly recommend that as well. This is a piece he wrote entitled Retirement Income and the Sensitive Sequence of Returns. I've changed that to the Sinister Sequence of Returns because I think it kind of lays in wait to attack the uneducated on their investment portfolios. And our job as financial professionals is to educate the population, educate the consumers on the reality of numbers, not just the expectations. So Milewski starts off by talking about when is the best time and the worst time to lose money. And if you ask one of your clients or one of your prospects when the best time to lose money was, they likely would give you an answer along the lines of, well, never. There's never a good time to lose money. But the reality is if they're going to be connected to a market of some type, then the reality is the market is going to go up and it's going to go down. Losses are inevitable if you're in the marketplace. The consequences of that depends on where you are in your lifetime wealth cycle. The best time to lose money is when you have the least amount invested. A 30% loss on $100,000 is different than a 30% loss on $1 million. You're better off losing money when you have the least amount invested. So what we have here is a hypothetical that Milewski put together. It assumes that an individual starting at age 30 is investing $2,400 a year and that they receive a return after inflation of 1%. They're going to continue to make this $2,400 a year investment and earn on the accumulated amount all the way to age 65 where they're going to enter the new phase of their life. The distribution phase, where they're going to start taking money out of this nest egg that they've accumulated. And this illustrates a withdrawal of $3,400 a year. The investment that's underlying still earning 1% above inflation, but they're going to take out that $3,400 a year until it runs out. Well, just as a matter of convenience, this particular scenario happens to run out at age 100. But let's take a look at the top of the pyramid here. This is the most dangerous time for an investor. This is when they have the most money at risk and when losing money can have the direst consequences. A number of years ago, the Prudential insurance company referred to this as the retirement red zone. Those years right before or leading up to retirement and those first few years following retirement. You might remember the Prudential retirement red zone. Well, Professor Milewski here refers to it as the fragile risk zone. And he says during the fragile risk zone, the years right before and right after retirement, your money is most susceptible to market downturns. This is where you have the most money to lose. And you think about it. In the last 12 years prior to retirement, if money's doubling every 6 years, earning 6%, 50% of your retirement nest egg is accumulated in those last 10 to 12 years. That is the worst time that you could lose money. And then we're going to take a look at what happens if you lose money right after you start into the distribution phase. So keep this lifetime wealth cycle pyramid in mind as we take a look at a couple of other mathematical scenarios that I think you'll find are very user-friendly and easy to share with clients and prospects. He's referred to this one as income scenario number 1, and it's one that we know could never ever happen, but it's going to establish a baseline for us. What we have here are some basic assumptions. We're taking a $100,000 portfolio, and it's earning a fixed nominal rate of 8% per year, and we're taking withdrawals of $7,000 per year, adjusted for an annual inflation rate of 3.5%. So he says if you want to be more precise, this portfolio is earning 0.6667% per month and $583 plus an inflation-adjusted amount of 3.5% divided by 12 is withdrawn on a monthly basis. Given these assumptions, We know with certainty, because it's just simple math, it's just simple math, that this nest egg will run out in just under 23 years. So if you started this process at age 65, you'd run out of money just before your 88th birthday. He's labeled this scenario, Scenario 1, but let's just keep it in mind as the baseline illustration. Okay? We've got a smooth and predictable glide to retirement income ruin. Okay? A scenario that's never going to happen, but at least it's going to give us a baseline. Now, the first thing to look at is what would happen if we had just one market loss, just one market loss of 20%. What would happen to the sustainability of this nest egg? Well, it really depends on when that loss occurs. When that loss occurs is more important than incurring the loss itself. If that happens at age 65 in this portfolio, instead of going out to age 88, it'll be gone by age 80. A 20% loss in the first year is going to cut 8 years off of the duration of this nest egg. And you can see progressively it gets better. The time to lose money is when you have the least. And the longer we go on this curve of spending down this nest egg, the less there is at risk and the less impact it has on its own sustainability. But you can see that even at age 84, a loss of 20% is going to reduce the duration by about a year. You know, what's happened here is that averages no longer matter. What matters more than the average annual return that we've talked about for 30 years is the sequence in which those returns are generated. And to illustrate this, Professor Milewski has given us two more scenarios. So remember, we have scenario number 1, where we've got a simple glide path down to age 88, where that $100,000 nest egg is gone at that point, given the assumptions. But here are two different scenarios. They look similar when you look at it at first. You've got 17% at the top of each pyramid, 27% at the bottom left of each pyramid, and a minus 20% at the bottom right of each pyramid. But look what happens when we reverse the sequence. It's absolutely stunning. We're going to look at scenario number 2, where we're going to assume that in the first year of this repeating cycle, the client earned 17%. The second year of the cycle, they lost 20%, but then earned another 27% the next year, followed by 17%, and we just keep rotating the scenario out. Scenario number 3, we are going to reverse that cycle and assume that in the first year, the client earns 17%, but in the second year, instead of minus 20, they earn another 27% positive and then lose the 20%. And the cycle again repeats itself over and over and over again. The steady 8% return is improbable. This is a more likely type of scenario that someone in retirement, in particular baby boomers, 70+ million of them facing this issue right now, is likely to experience. So instead of a constant 8% return, we have an average 8% return in both of these two scenarios, just in different sequences. The results are quite dramatically different. Quite dramatically different. Right there in the middle, you see our straight glide path of 8%, the most improbable scenario. But that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, where we go in a clockwise fashion, and scenario number 3 have dramatically different results. Scenario number 2, earning an average arithmetic return of 8%, is worse than exactly 8% when you start your retirement in a bear market. Remember, that's the one where we took a loss with the second return. Scenario number 3, on the other hand, the one at the top, again earning just an arithmetic average of 8%, is better than exactly 8% per year. when the initial return is favorable. You see, sequence is everything. Sequence, timing is everything. So here's another chart included in the report that shows the different sequences. 8%, 8%, 8%, the smooth glide path. You run out of money at age 87.92, 88, at age 88. Losing 20% in the first year, followed by a gain of 17 and a gain of 27, the money runs out at age 82. That's almost a 6-year difference in the sustainability of that nest egg. And you can see the other numbers, 17 minus 20 plus 27 only goes out to age 86. That's almost 2 years less than the straight glide path. But the positive scenario, where you start off with a big gain in the first year, 27%, and followed by another gain of 17%, then a 20% loss, stretches it all the way out to age 94 and a half, 6.5 years longer than even the smooth glide path. Now, this is a very simple math. There's only 3 numbers in any of these return sequences. So we know that this repeating sequence is not likely to happen. Not likely to happen. It's merely here to illustrate a point. But let's illustrate it a little bit stronger with returns that aren't sequential like that. Here we have 2 portfolios. On the left, portfolio A. On the right, portfolio B. They each have exactly the same arithmetic mean, same standard deviation, the same geometric mean. Everything is identical because these returns are identical. The difference is portfolio B is in the reverse order of portfolio A. Exactly the same returns. You notice you go down to year 21 on portfolio B, it's a minus 18.39%. You go on the left-hand side up to year 1 of portfolio A, it's a minus 18.39%. So all they've done here is flip-flop the numbers. The numbers are the same. It's just the order is reversed. And look what happens. Portfolio A is gone in 16 years. Portfolio B, with exactly the same numbers, just in a reverse sequence, actually grows. $100,000 in year 1 grows to $386,497. Simply because even though the numbers are the same, even though the averages are the same, the sequence, the sinister sequence of returns is what determines the outcome of this portfolio. Not the numbers they put up, but the sequence those numbers appear in. So these are identical numbers. This is a similar example that has a different sequence of returns. It's all over the place. It's not flip-flopped. It's just the same averages, the same standard deviation, but again, completely different results. Portfolio A runs out of money in the 16th year. Portfolio B, simply because it's in a different sequence of returns, even though they have the same average return, ends up growing to $187,000 instead. And you can see the big culprit here. The big culprit here in portfolio A is those first 3 years of losses. Those first 3 years of losses. Folks, we've got over 70 million baby boomers who are in what Professor Milevsky calls the fragile risk zone, the prudential red zone of retirement, where a loss could hurt them for the rest of their life. You know, it's one thing for somebody in their 30s or even 40s to sustain a loss because they have time to make it back. But if you've got clients and prospects approaching that distribution phase of their financial life, they are at high risk of being permanently damaged by a loss. Now, of course, I'm here because I believe we have the perfect products to address those concerns. We have market-linked CDs which are principal protected and guaranteed. They're not going to take a loss. They're not going to take a loss. Most of our products have a minimum guarantee of at least 1%, and you've heard me talk about it over and over and over again. We have an absolutely fantastic product from Goldman Sachs that's diversified over 7 different asset classes and has tremendous historical returns. Current year to date through August, it's up 7.5% year to date. But you've seen these returns before because I like putting them up. All of these returns are positive except one single year. And remember, even in that year, this product pays a 1% minimum interest payment on an annual basis. So even in that negative year for the index, a client in the Goldman Sachs Momentum Builder product would have made a positive return. And we all remember what 2007, 8, and 9 looked like. And I like to emphasize those returns. But there's some other nice years in there too. 2010, 9.59, 2011, 9.14. Folks, these are tremendous returns for an FDIC insured product that's principal protected and guaranteed and has a minimum 1% annual interest payment regardless of the performance of the index. This is easy to sell. And when you put it in the context of this insulates you and protects you from those sinister sequences of returns that can derail an entire retirement plan, this is something that you really ought to be showing your baby boomer clients and even some of your senior clients. This is just an absolutely marvelous product. If you haven't taken the time to take a good look at it, you really should. This is our best seller right now, and I think with very, very good reason. So the moral of the story is, of course, if you're going to go to a card game, even though you might be familiar with the tools, make sure you know the rules. And the rules in distribution are different than the rules in accumulation. Okay, we're fast coming up on the September cutoff dates. I know, I've talked to a number of you. There are lots of cases out there pending that you're working on, and as always, we want to make sure we get them in and get them processed so that you get paid in a timely manner. But Tuesday the 23rd, Wednesday the 24th, and Thursday the 25th this month is coming up very, very rapidly. Those are the cutoff dates for the September offerings. So if you've got something you're working on right now, now's the time to wrap up the details. And of course, as always, your business consultants are here to help you in any way that they possibly can. So with that, I will take questions. If you have questions and you haven't typed them into the control panel, into the chat box on your control panel, please go ahead and do so now, and I will respond to as many as I can. First question, of course, is always, can we get these slides? And yeah, I'll be happy to send you the slides, but more importantly, if you attended today, we're going to send you the full report. And if you need to convert them to slides, that can be done. You should be able to do that, or your assistant should be able to do it. If that's an issue, I'll be more than happy to send the slides, but we're going to send the full report out. Dick says, please send us attendees to professors. Yeah, okay, article discussed today. Yes, absolutely, Dick. I just said that we're going to do that. Can Tim also send out today's slides if they don't violate any rules? Yeah, I'll be happy to send the slides. I'll do both. I'll just make sure we attach both. I don't see a problem with that. So for attending today, you're going to be awarded not only Mushi Malevsky's paper, which he did for MetLife, by the way. I forgot to mention that. You'll not only get his paper, I'll be happy to send my slides as well. Okay, Sean asked the same thing. So happy to send the slides to all of you as well as the report. Once again, thank you for joining us today. As always, I know your time is valuable, and I hope I bring something to the table that makes it worthwhile for you to spend, roughly 30 minutes with me every Wednesday. I'll be back same time, same place next Wednesday, 11:35 Pacific time. Hope to hear from you then. In the meantime, have a great week, and thanks for joining us.